Good day, everybody. I'm so glad that you've tuned in to the Nervous System Challenge. I'm so excited for these next 7 days. Day 1, assessment. We're going to do a simple assessment to assess your nervous system and the level of stress that you may be having. It involves breathing. I want to talk about the polyvagal theory by Stephen Porges. His theory is about we have 3 different states of our nervous system. The first one is ventral vagal, and this is the state of calm, grounded, peaceful joy. Then we have the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. We're running from the tiger. We might be angry or irritable or just scared. The third stage is the dorsal vagal nervous system, and that is the freeze place where we are so traumatized or stressed that we kind of collapse and hide and are kind of shut down. So there's those 3 branches of the nervous system, and we go into them regularly in our daily life, but it's important that we're more often in the ventral vagal, the calm, grounded, joyful state, and we actually return to that place once we get into fight or flight or dorsal vagal, shutdown, freeze or shutdown. So the assessment that we're going to be doing is we're going to be checking your breath, and we're checking what we call the control pause. And it's going to tell us if you are in a sympathetic nervous system state on a more regular basis than the ventral vagal, calm, grounded, and joyful. So what I want you to do is following up on my previous video about how we breathe. We want to be breathing with our belly. So I'll kind of show you here. We're going to be holding, our hand on our chest and on our belly. And as we breathe in through our nose, I don't know if you can see that. Basically, my belly is expanding. And so we're using our diaphragm to breathe. So we're going to take 4 or 5 breaths with that. I'm just going to do a couple just so I don't have to hold you here, but you'll do 4 or 5 breaths of that. And then on the exhale, I'm going to exhale and I'm going to stop. I'm not going to breathe in again. And I'm going to hold my breath. So and I count. So I'm cutting off early because I don't want to sit here in silence. But as I get to the end of the exhale, I stop and I just kind of sit and hold my breath, and I see how many seconds I can get without feeling uncomfortable. So when people say, "Oh, I'm not stressed," I say, let's check your control pause. Ideal is greater than 40 seconds, which honestly I have a hard time with. So yeah, I am stressed. And so if you are less than 10, that's pretty low. 20 to 40, maybe 30 is more moderate, still room for improvement. Greater than 40, awesome. And then, if you even go higher than that, even more awesome. But what it means is if you can't hold, your body is regularly in a sympathetic nervous system state, which is the fight or flight. Because when we are in fight or flight, we are breathing shallowly. And it's kind of complicated, the physiology of it, but it actually causes us to get rid of carbon dioxide. And then the sensors that sense carbon dioxide, they get more sensitive. And so we aren't able to tolerate carbon dioxide. And that's what's happening when we exhale and stop our breath. Carbon dioxide is accumulating in our body, and our body says, too much, take a breath. And so the idea is that if you cannot hold your breath, you're not tolerating carbon dioxide. It's because other places in your life you're breathing too shallowly and you're in a sympathetic nervous system state. So what I say is write down your number, non-judgmentally. Okay, I'm at 20. Room for improvement. And then as we go through the week, you can recheck it. see if it shifts. Ideally, we're going to be doing different things to help balance your nervous system, and so you would see it increase. Okay. I will also say, like during the day, if you have a particularly stressful event, it can be way lower. So maybe you'll have some days that are better and some days that are worse. All right. Thanks for listening. I hope that you found this simple assessment helpful. See you tomorrow.